Yeah, it's not a shocker for you to have it.
Oh, we're missing Rick now.
Looks pretty simple, I just want to, before I sign it. Right, yeah, so, yeah. Okay. Welcome to the March 5th, 2018 Town Board meeting. I appreciate everyone being here. You'll notice that there are two exits behind you, one out the hallway, one to the left, and there's an exit out to our left if there's an emergency. Can we please rise for the pledge? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we begin, there's a couple of notes, points I wanted to make. This past Friday, we had a severe storm. I want to commend our highway department for the efforts during the snowstorm. I know there was tense moments during it. The roads were slippery, and there was a lot of difficulty in moving the snow. It was extremely heavy. Throughout the storm, John and I were in constant contact, and throughout the weekend we were in constant contact from Friday through Sunday. I was on the phone with Alan Mack from Emergency Services in Orange County numerous times. We coordinated a few of the locations that were out of electric. In fact, prior to walking in here, him and I had discussed a location that was a medical need, and said he was going to get on it. We also had Anne Marie Morris from our senior center call me on Saturday, seeing if there was a need for a warming center. After calling the county and discussing their situation, they said they didn't think there was a need. There would be a need, but keep monitoring it, which we did. We proceeded to go through the weekend, and there was a conference call with Orange and Rockland on Sunday afternoon at about 2:15. Through that conference call, we were able to kind of prioritize what some of the needs were with respect to the outages. Unfortunately, not much got done, with the exception of what was done today. We had two major locations that were dangerous situations: High Ridge, up by Councilman McGinn, and Cedar Cliff. Cedar Cliff was to be addressed this afternoon. At about 4:30, I was over there, and Orange and Rockland was leaving with a bucket truck to go up to the tower on the top of Horizon Heights. Their tower up there was out. So there is a conference call also tomorrow with Orange and Rockland that I'll be on. I'm going to ask John to get on it too with us to prepare for the storm on Wednesday, which is supposed to go from Tuesday evening through Thursday morning. So I just want to thank everyone for their concern, for their help. The board was also in constant contact Saturday and Sunday. So we did everything possible that we could to assure the safety of the residents. Today we had an active shooter drill at the theater. Originally we wanted to get the drama club from Monroe Woodbury there. Unfortunately, with the fact school was off on Thursday and their play is coming up in 2 weeks, there were some kind of limitations that prevented them from being there. And in the future, we're going to have them at some future drills that we may have. But thanks go out to the village board and village trustees and the mayor, also to Chief Dave Conklin, the Monroe Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the Village of Harriman Police Department, the Town of Woodbury Police Department, and the State Police Department for their efforts, which coordinated together in enabling this drill to be a success today. We had our town employees there. There were representatives from other municipalities. I know Suffern had sent someone up here because of the Lafayette Theater down there. So I thought it was well received. I know Mary Ellen and Valerie were there as well, as was Bob from Highway, and it was well done, and it was a real eye-opener based on not having experienced something like that, thank God, in training or in real life. I want to thank George for organizing the presentation that Chief Conklin gave today, and the theater employees for all they did. What happened today was there was a 30-minute presentation by Chief Conklin, and after that 30-minute PowerPoint presentation, he had anybody ask questions, was able to. We went into the live drill, and everybody that was there either viewed or role played. I know that most of the town employees role played as far as either being injured, screaming to create chaos, running out of the theater, and the humorous moment, if anything, that came out of it for me was as I was being taken out on a stretcher and I got into the exit door, Sergeant Lee was there, and he said, it was a good run, Tony. So it was well received, and I think in the future we'll definitely have the attendance more so than we did today. Okay, on to business. Mary Ellen, minutes we're going to postpone.
I would like to explain to the public to please bear with us. We're getting through board docs. There's a few things that we have to learn that are giving us a little bit of trouble. So we're going to be calling board docs tomorrow and doing a training with them in a certain area, which is going to enable us to get the minutes out quicker. The video clips to it, it's just not meshing right now for us. So I would just ask everybody to just be a little patient.
Okay. Next item, which I would like to discuss in executive session, is the need for the assessor's office to hire someone either part-time or full-time. Moses Friedlich has resigned as of 2 weeks ago, and today he started his job over in Blooming Grove. He was a assistant assessor here. He's actually the assessor over in Blooming Grove. So I'd like to hold that off. The audit. So the accountants had presented a cost for the 2017 audit. 2015 was $35,000, 16 was $37,500, and 2017 would be $40,000. It's professional services, and I think it would be in our best interest if we made a motion to approve that so that they can begin the process towards the end of this month for the 2017 audit. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion to proceed with O'Connor Davies for the 2017.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
Could you just, what is the cost for this?
$40,000 for the 17 audit.
18,
I'm sorry,
37.5.
No, for the 17.
So,
I'm sorry. Yes. 37.5 to 17.
Okay.
My error. Okay. Just to be clear.
Right.
Yep. So 16 was 35, 17 will be 37.5, and then if we choose to go into 18, it would be $40,000.
It's only an incremental increase of $2,500 per year. Correct.
Yes. So just to keep it simple for Mary Ellen, when we call the question, if we could vote from starting with Mary down to you, Councilman, again. Okay.
sure.
So call the question.
Aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again,
Okay, so moved. I'd like to table the library backyard enhancement. I'd like to make a motion to table that.
I'll second that. Oh, you want me to make the motion?
No, I made the motion.
Okay, I'll second it for you.
Okay. Call the question? Aye.
Bingham,
I'm sorry, Mary.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. The ambulance contract. Mr. Nugent, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, Supervisor, we reached out, we're waiting for a call back from the Department of Health, Bureau of Emergency Services, because we wanted to solicit their input on the issue that has been raised and discussed. We placed 2 calls, haven't gotten a call back yet, so we'll continue working on that.
Meanwhile, the ambulance corps will continue to perform in the town. This is just a matter of a formality of giving us a listing of costs and fees throughout each month, correct? Or each quarter? Is that correct, Mr. Nugent?
Yeah, I just want to correct, I know the agenda says that there is an issue about fees and the town does not have the financials. The town does have the financials. That have been resolved a while ago.
Okay.
So it's really just an issue of the contract, and the ambulance corps will not sign a contract with a reference to General Municipal Law 122B, which is the authority under which the town enters the contract.
I just wanted to make it clear for the people out there.
Okay. So we will add that to the March 19th agenda?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, prior to doing this, item 3.5, zoning board of appeals alternate member, I would like to discuss this in executive session so that everybody is understanding of the candidate. Everybody okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's fine.
Core BTS, they're going to be the company that will put us from our servers into the cloud. I'm in contact with Joe Ciccarelli, and we should have a conference call with them this week sometime. It was supposed to be Wednesday, but we're probably going to have to reschedule. As far as the contract with New Windsor for the IMA, which I would like to begin on the 15th of March, so there's an overlap with that company in Firthcliffe. Mr. Nugent, you have seen the contract, so what I would like regarding that would be to get a motion tonight authorizing the supervisor to sign that contract.
Yes, Supervisor, I've reviewed the agreement. We did ask New Windsor to add language concerning confidentiality, which they did, so we're satisfied with the agreement in its current form.
Okay. There are cost savings regarding that. The hours that would be charged to the town, probably 95% of the time, would be $87 per hour, and there will be no monthly contract cost for us. Presently, we're at $944 or $33 for the monthly fee, service fee that is associated with that contract. So, with that said, someone could make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to enter into the contract for
Okay.
BTS.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. Any other discussion?
Now, just to be clear, they're going to be taking us into the cloud. That's going to be quite an effort, I guess, into that.
Yeah, this actually isn't Core BTS's contract that we're signing. This is the contract for the IMA with New Windsor.
Oh, okay.
Core BTS is going to be coordinating with the
New Windsor.
new IT. Yeah.
Okay.
This is to motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with New Windsor for the IMA, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me rephrase my motion, because I think I said to enter into a contract with BTS, to enter into a
Okay.
contract or an IMA with the town of New Windsor for IT services in conjunction with BTS or core BTS.
Okay.
Good to go?
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Revision of employee handbook. Mary?
Okay, I think also this should be done in executive session because it does affect some possible pay rates for employees and deductions.
Okay. Okay. Next item, 4.3, comp ticket policy at the Monroe Theater. It's up for discussion.
Question. What do we mean by comp ticket policy?
Okay, so there's two aspects of the comp ticket policy. The first one is nonprofit organizations that will request free tickets for their fundraiser. The second would be comp tickets for employees, which was discussed at a meeting. The theater would like 2 possible comps per month per employee.
It's,
I think in our earlier discussions, we had said 1 per employee per month.
yeah, but right now, how much are the theater tickets usually outside of, for the first run movies?
$7 or $9.
That's here. And in Middletown?
Oh, anywhere between 12 and 15, I believe. 15.
So basically, our citizenry is paying half price.
Yeah,
And so we're going to give free tickets on top of that
not to citizens,
To
to
employees.
to employees.
Yeah,
I
that's a proposal.
kind of have a bit of an issue with that. I think that if I'm given half off, is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I would disagree with Councilman Cologne. These are students, they're not earning a large paycheck. And for them to be then able to go back to their friends and say, I saw Black Panther and it's great, I think would help promote sales in the younger crowd. So I think having 1 comp ticket per employee per month, I think it's doable.
Per employee throughout the town?
No.
No, to just the theater
CMAC,
employees.
Yeah, just the theater employees.
Okay, now how come they get it and I don't?
Because you're an adult.
No, I'm just bringing up if we have other employees in highway, we have employees in the town, and we're excluding them, so it's not really all inclusive.
Good point.
How many employees are we talking? at the movie?
Probably about, what, 50, 60 in the town?
50, 60 in the town.
In the movie?
Is this
Over
going
there,
to,
it's about 12 right now.
so is it going to include full-time employees, part-time and full-time? Only there, I mean,
There's only two full-time employees.
At the movie theater?
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to discuss this a little more in executive before we go any further with that, that's all. I know it's not a heck of a lot of money to the town in general, but we're trying to keep it as solvent as possible. So I mean, if, instead of saying 1 ticket a month, maybe 4 tickets a year or 2 tickets a year, I don't know,
Okay,
something to that effect.
so if you'd like to discuss it in executive
Yeah,
session.
a little bit more.
Supervisor, I don't
I don't-
know that will be an appropriate topic unless we're talking about specific employees for executive session.
Well, in a sense we are, because they're all, at this point, only theater employees.
Well, we need to be, in other words, if the conversation's about the employees specifically, it could be an executive session. If you're just
Okay.
talking about a policy on whether or not they receive tickets, that would need to be in public session.
Okay, let's keep it public, no problem. Anybody
How
else?
about, how about we do a little compromise here? How about just
I'm
the
listening.
part-time employees are entitled to the 1 ticket a month?
Part-time employees that work only in theater.
But yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, not all over the town, right? Could you live with that, Mr. Councilman Cologne?
It's a tough pill to swallow, pardon the pun, but,
I'm just saying, you know, the part-timers are for the most part students and aren't,
how many
you know, they're not,
part-timers?
you know,
7?
I'm not saying they're, you know,
Right now, there's 8, and it would soon to be 11.
Hear that? We got some openings out there, so if,
so.
giving away free.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying, listen, if.
One ticket a
if-
month,
if-
is what you're
if,
saying?
like, Councilwoman Biggins said, it's kind of something that maybe, hey, they use as a draw to,
Correct.
you know.
I agree with that.
And would
And, you know-
bolster sales in the future.
I'm just bringing it up for discussion. I will go along with the preference of the board.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the policy for the comp tickets, but that it will be part-time employees are entitled to 1 comp ticket per month. That would be the revision.
I would just like to add one thing on that.
Well, we got to second it first.
Second it away.
Second.
Second by Councilman Scancarello.
The
For
ticket
discussion.
is specifically for the employee and not to be given to anybody else.
Correct. That's the way I am looking at it.
Yeah. It's second.
Not for resale.
Not for resale, wholesale, or
We're
giveaway.
not scalping here.
No scalping.
No StubHub here.
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second.
Sorry about
Hello?
that.
Yes, that's me. Is this O&R? Okay.
It's his agent calling to book him something in the next movie.
That's actually O&R that just.
Oh, come on, you're ruining my line here.
You know.
Do you want to go off the record?
You can go off the
I
record.
know, yeah, I have it. I'm just gonna pick it up.
So it comes back.
Yeah.
They think they're gonna, they don't think they're there, but they're gonna add it to the agenda for this evening. Because it was originally scheduled for tomorrow. Up there? Yeah, at Turner, not Seaport, Turner. Yeah. Turner, they got a crew at Turner. All right.
Tony,
I guess they don't know they have a crew. Okay.
he took us off the air for now, so we're going to be right back.
Okay, well, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Can you, Mary Ellen, could you read back the motion, please?
That the town board is going to adopt the policy presented to the town board with the following revision. It'll read, each part-time employee will be allowed 1 comp ticket per calendar month. And that's for the part-time employees.
Right, not to be used.
And we
Or
will
resold
add in
by
not
other-
to be sold.
Resold.
Non-transferable.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
word.
Nice.
Okay? Thank you, Lorraine. And you didn't even have to say it in public comment.
Load him up.
Okay, call the question?
Aye.
Not,
No.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
No.
whoa, women first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Left
sorry.
to right, left to right.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, begrudgingly aye.
Wow.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Again, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay. Item 4.4, renaming of TMAC for discussion. Does anybody have any thoughts regarding the TMAC?
Well, we gotta second it first.
Well, there's no resolution.
There's
No
No,
resolution.
just
All right.
discussion.
All right.
I mean, I know a couple of people had gotten up during public comment and had suggested changing the name, and I know there's some negative connotations that go along with the TMAC name from the previous board. So, I mean, I would certainly be, amenable to changing it to the Monroe Theater or some other similar type of designation.
I think keeping it Monroe Theater is appropriate, and the sign right above the
Says
main
Mon-
entrance says Monroe Theater, so I don't think the public would be confused. So I think Monroe Theater is a good name.
Councilman Cologne, any thoughts?
It's more in keeping, I think we've had enough controversy with that theater, and calling it the Monroe Theater, it'll still be generally carrying on as business right now until we have further discussion of where we're going to go with that. So Monroe Theater, I'm not going to object to a name change at this point.
Okay, just for thought, there was talk about some of the theater employees thought it should be Monroe Cinema. I'm just bringing that up for discussion.
Okay.
So if we choose to go with either or, I'm fine with it. I think it has to be renamed.
If we call it cinema, does that means we're going to have to change the sign?
Correct.
Correct,
So that will incur an additional expense at that point.
correct.
The
Just
theater
go-
people might think you're putting on plays and things like that, like a theater production, whereas the Monroe
Cinema?
Cinema, I think people are more inclined to think it's just movies.
My only reservation about going with cinema over theater is that, we still are offering other, besides, first-run movies, we are offering other
You're going to use that?
alternative programming there, whether it be, poetry readings or some of the other events that we've had there. And I think it's probably best, theater probably best describes it. And the other thing is, another reason to go away from TMAC to theater is that, I think, we're, as we try to market and try to get other, try to market the theater and get other entities involved with looking at it, I think that makes it a little bit easier, because I think when they see art and civic center, they're thinking it's a little bit more encompassing, whereas they're looking to, maybe it's something a little different, you know what I mean? They're looking for a regular a theater operation with maybe doing some of that alternative programming, which a lot of theaters, commercial theaters, are doing now anyway.
Well, the reason why they kept it TMAC or Civic Center was because we were going to be doing other things there, which we are. We're trying to do other things. So that was in keeping with the name in the onset, but a lot of controversy has surrounded that name, so it's the only reason why we're having that discussion to change it, because we want to change the persona of it, but not the mission of it in a sense at this point. We still want to do other civic things there, meetings, different types of meetings. So at this point, it's still going to be, we just want to make it more encompassing with the name that's on top, which is Monroe Theater.
Okay.
I'm not against that.
Do we want to hold this off to next meeting? Do we want to make a motion tonight?
Well, I mean, we can hear from John Q. Public, or see if we get anything in from the mail and see what people out there think.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think we should probably listen to some public comment on it.
Right.
Yeah, there's
I
gonna
think
be some
public
there's a lot
comment,
of young
and
people out here tonight, so maybe they would like to get up and give us their opinions as to which name would entice them to come.
Say we table it to the 19th and revisit.
I would like that. I would like to have it open for some comment and hear what, and if anybody is watching, on television at home, please feel free to phone in or email us and let us know what's going on. Don't touch that dial.
Okay,
Rational emails.
okay.
Well,
Rational emails that are about the topic.
let's not go
all
overboard
sorts-
now.
Well,
Irrational.
we can only hope.
Yeah.
That, no.
Okay,
Rational is good.
on to item 4.5, dial-a-bus. Mrs. Tutini.
The term not married.
Ms. Tutini, my apologies.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Tutini. I run the Town of Monroe Dial-a-Bus. We haven't met, but how are you?
Very good, how are you?
Okay, good. We're down one part-time driver, and we're still down one part-time driver. We're down one full-time driver. He's out on compensation, and I have no idea when he'll be back. We have another full-time driver who sold his house and is moving the end of April. So that's 2 full-time, 1 part-time. Dial-A-Bus is in need of 2 full-time drivers and 1 part-time driver, all starting at $16.85 per hour. The 2 full-time drivers will work 40 hours a week, part-time driver 20 hours a week. I also need overtime to be approved for 3 hours plus or minus once a week. I also sent the board, each one of you, maybe not you, sir, I don't know, about Bus 31 is in need of a new transmission. I also included in your packet 3 estimates, and the bus is just sitting there unused at Loyal Tire right now because I'm waiting for some type of approval, discussion about what you want to do with it, because it's about $5,200.
It's what?
Remember we had this
$5,200, yeah,
$5,200.
approximately, yeah.
Now, with the $5,200, we get a 3-year unlimited warranty on the transmission, and that's through Healy Brothers in Goshen. I had 2 other estimates that are in your packet. Each one got one. I got one from Loyal Tire for $47.54.57, but it's only a 2-year warranty.
Mr. Tini, how many miles does that bus have on, and when's it due for replacement?
Which one? 31?
Yeah, the one with
Has
the bad trans.
68,930 miles.
I'm sorry,
68,930 miles. The warranty is up after 60,000 miles. So there's no warranty on
so the
any of the
county's
buses.
not,
There's no warranty on any of my buses now. They're all over 50,000.
And just, could you repeat to the board, I know you explained it to me when I stopped in the other day, what the mileage lifespan is of?
The average lifespan on a bus is 5 years or 60,000 miles. Orange County Planning, who helps us get the buses and supplies the monies for them, actually, the grants, knows that they wanted to go 150,000 miles. They know the buses won't go 150,000 miles without severe repairs. It's like city traffic. It's stop and go all day long. You got the brakes, you know, the tires, you name it. It's just like your car. It's just going to get worn, and these buses are worn out. What we're due is we're due for 6 new buses. We were supposed to have them the 1st of this year. Now they foresee at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Should I have this major repair on the bus, this bus will become our spare. We have to have a spare bus because they go in for oil changes, tires. You still have to have a bus ready to go. So that's what this bus will be kept. The other buses, no matter what the condition is that we take the best parts, put it into another bus, and then we will either auction or sell them or donate. That's how this works.
Okay.
So I guess really what it comes down to is whether is that extra year on the warranty is it worth the $500
Yes.
bucks is really what it
It
comes
is.
down to.
I've talked to my drivers, and because it's a lot of money, and we can take it to Healy. They can have it done within 3 days.
Okay. So
Full
I guess we'd have to
guarantee,
get
full
towed up
warranty.
there or flap it up there or something like that.
$100.
Yeah.
But they
So
back
you
up
said
their
$100
work.
bucks? Is that what they?
$100 to tow it up there.
It's not bad. Well, listen, it's got to get done.
It's been sitting for 4 weeks. I gotta get an
Gotta get it
answer.
done.
Yeah. Hey, this one from Academy, that the handwritten one.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying 2,200 and it's a year, right? Is that what it?
The
it's 4 to 6
$2,200
weeks?
is for a rebuild. That does not include.
Oh, it's not new. Okay.
Yeah, it's a rebuild, and it comes in a package of the most worn parts for a transmission, and
No.
they will replace and repair those parts.
No.
However, anything outside that package, you have to pay more for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably Healy's the way to go.
Right.
Is that what your recommendation
This
is?
is-
My recommendation, as well as my drivers, because I talked to them about this stuff, is that it would be Healy.
Yeah.
You get it up there and get it back within 4 days. I I can't do any better than that.
Were they taking one out of the crate? A new one?
Yes.
Yeah, go with that.
In and out.
Go with that. That's my recommendation.
3-year unlimited warranty, and they'll come and get us if anything happens.
And you have it in your line item, your budget line item?
My line item's squeezing down tight. I was hoping to have the new buses by this time.
Do you know how much you have in the repair line item?
Nope. I don't.
Well, we can,
Okay, can you?
I can look it up. I mean, it's not,
Right.
it's on public view. I guess anybody can look it up.
Uh,
I mean, the 5,000 isn't going to put me in the red. It's just that it's a big line item, and I want the board to know what I'm spending it on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
And get
I
your
mean, I'm
approval.
for it.
That's what, I mean, I could go ahead and do it, but I just think the board should know about it before I go ahead and do it, and that
Yep.
you're aware of it.
Okay.
There's no board action required from us, I mean, basically.
Not really, but
Yeah.
No,
it's a
but-
courtesy that I
yeah.
think you should
Yeah,
be
no,
aware
that's
of,
fine.
you
No,
know.
appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd definitely go ahead with Healy and.
I'm gonna go with
seems like
Healy.
they-
Go with Healy, absolutely. It's out of the crate. It's, they're backing it. They're a
4
dealership.
days, I can't beat it, all right.
All right,
Healy, and it's okay.
pack it up.
Now, we're gonna get to the rough stuff. My drivers. I need 2 full-time drivers, 1 part-time. My 1 part-timer has not been replaced for about 1.5 years. It's up to you. If you want to fill it, fine. The other 1 or 2 drivers that I absolutely have to replace. I will be putting an ad in the paper with your approval for 7 days and see what happens. CDL drivers are becoming very scarce because
Yes.
to get one now is very difficult. It's not like it used to be. You have to almost tear the engine apart. So,
My only concern with going with 2 is if the individual who is out on compensation in 2 months comes back.
how about we do this? We bring him on part-time, have him work full-time. Should this other person come back, he can fill the part-time position.
We're gonna have
That
the
might be
union
it.
to contend with on that one.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it
The
might be a
union will have to
issue.
contend with that on that
If we
one.
hire full-time, part-time? We've
Yeah.
done it before.
Yeah, I think if you hire a part-timer.
Part-time.
Have him work full-time
No, but
hours.
if we have him, no, not as a permanent thing. It's, we hire our part-timers to do vacation time, sick time, whatever comes up. If somebody's out sick, we always bring our part-timer in full-time at the same rate.
I hear what you're saying, and I
Okay.
just want to make sure that it's not going to be an issue with the Teamsters. So I mean, like, if I have no problem, like, personally, with hiring the part-timer, but I would like to make sure that the attorney reviews that
That's
before
fine,
there's any
Mr. Nugent.
additional hours above
Will
the
you
20.
be doing that,
you
or
know?
who does that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr.
You'll be in touch
Mr.
with them?
Nugent does it. Yeah, we just want to make sure it's
No, that's
consistent
fine,
with the
but will-
contract and that
Will
there's
you make
no-
sure that I find out the end result?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
So can I go ahead and get one full-timer? He's leaving, it's now, what, March 5th?
3 weeks?
He leaves,
Has he,
the end of-
has he given you a letter of resignation?
not yet, but he's
Okay.
told me. He says, I want to let you know.
I've
Okay.
heard things like that before.
Whatever you guys decide is
So,
fine. I'm just letting you know
until-
what the situation's going to be.
Until we get a letter of resignation, I would hold off
Hold off.
from hiring.
How
I'm
about
not-
putting the ad in the paper,
Let
the
me
gathering?
finish, let me
All right.
finish. I would put an ad in the paper, and I
Okay.
would canvass, and then, you know, once you get the letter of resignation, if he's leaving in 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, then we can make the decision to hire.
So I'm going to put an ad in the paper for one full-time driver.
Yes, I mean, does the board have any objection to that?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay, great. Okay, another thing, it's not, did you each get a list with what I have to say?
I have it
I
right
thought it was
here.
pretty good myself. Did you, Mr. Cardone, did you go over, speak to anyone about the bus service for that wedding?
No, I did not go over there. I wanted to see what the board felt prior to.
Okay, we're getting
Calling
calls
over
to
there.
go into Blooming Grove. Now, we have an IMA with Woodbury, but we don't have anything with Blooming Grove. Blooming Grove does have the one bus, what do they call
The
that?
senior bus, I guess
It's
they
a
call it.
senior bus. We have been getting a lot of calls to go into Blooming Grove. The area
The
is
village
growing,
South
the
Blooming
hotel
Grove, or
is
the
there.
town, or both?
What?
The village and the town?
They think they're in the town of Monroe, but they're actually in the
Oh,
town
so
of
they're in the
Blue.
village of South
You have to,
Bloomington.
ask the address, look it up on the map where the boundary is.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
It's the new hotel, and I think people want to go from there to, this one request is Feast Caters, which is over off of Round Hill Road.
Yep, no, I've been there for a reception. I mean, my only issue with that is, and I guess, the attorney can opine on it as well, is that I don't think, listen, that's, people that are, for a wedding, should just really be looking to contract out with a private, transportation company for insurance purposes.
Well, we
and
have the
everything
same
else.
thing with Woodbury, and the fee is lucrative. When you have 15, 16, you're talking,
Let's put it to you this way. That fee was absolutely absurd. Not your fault. I had a
Thank you very much.
I had a conversation with Supervisor Sutz last year.
so did I.
And his comment to me was, I could have hired individual Uber drivers for every person that got on the bus for what we charged them.
But when you
So-
have a one-time thing like a wedding, or
Yeah.
whatever, it just may be worth it. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah,
You know, make
I
a
listen, I
decision.
think
It's your
I think
decision.
it's up for discussion, and I think
And I
as
think
long
anything that
as,
would bring in some money to the town is a good thing, you know?
Yeah, it helps out the other town. I'd like to do something that would help out another town.
I
Yeah.
have a question. It says the pickup would be at 3:30 PM and a return at 12 AM. How do you schedule?
What are you talking about?
It says in the wedding.
Yeah.
Where is it? I didn't type this. That's the guy, that's the wedding planner.
Right, but he's saying a pickup at 3:30 PM, which I could see being part of your schedule.
He probably
And-
means 12
and we-
AM in the morning, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he meant.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
That would be fine. Why not?
You would have a driver available at that
Sure.
time in the morning.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
If they're
My-
willing to do it, what?
I
That's
know,
fine.
my concern, and I'd like our attorney to opine on this, is, number one, the insurance aspect of it. And number two, the fact that we're going out of our locale without any IMA.
Exactly, no, that's
existing.
why I'm bringing it up to you. Maybe we should look into an IMA in the future. To do this wedding, we couldn't possibly do it now. There's not enough time to get all our ducks in order, to protect ourselves and to protect the riders. But I think in the future, it would be good for the board to look into getting an IMA with Blooming Grove. That's up to the board.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
just suggesting it.
we could certainly bring that up with the new supervisor there and see what their thoughts are on that. Like I said, I have reservations about doing the private type stuff on, only because I think that, well, one, we'd have to check with the insurance carrier to make sure that we would still be covered under NYMER if we, like, for doing private contract service for
That's
like
fine. I
a
mean,
wedding or
something we
something.
should look into and just get
Yeah.
a firm answer on, one way or the other.
Yeah, I got you.
That way
No,
it's
well,
taken care of.
We'll certainly talk to the carrier and see what their thoughts are on that.
Okay, so I guess that's it. Any questions for
Nope.
me? Okay, thank you.
Get the training
Thank you
done.
very much.
You're also looking for 3 hours for one of your,
Oh, yeah, 3 hours, because
You
I'm
thought I
getting
didn't look at the
driving.
list, right?
Thank God, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking for 3 hours, plus or minus a week, not to go over.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve 3 overtime hours per week for
Thank you,
Dial
Mr.
Bus
Mayor.
employees.
Thank
For how long?
Till we get a full-time driver.
Okay,
All right, I'll second that. Do we have to make any motion?
any other
on that?
discussion? Well, it's overtime, yeah, we do.
Okay.
Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
again,
Okay.
Okay.
Good night. That sounds like Italian, an
Good
Italian name.
yay.
All righty, thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank
Good
you
night.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, 4.6, electronic recycling days. Right now, the days are April 20th and 21st.
Yep, all right, audience is leaving now.
On the 20th, good night. On the 20th, it's going to be from 9 to 2. On the 21st, it's going to be from 9 to 3. Last year, we had 2 separate locations. The shredding was done over at, in Harriman, and the electronic recycling and tires were done over at our town hall. This year, we're trying to coordinate so that both, well, that all three aspects of the recycling are done at the town hall.
Madam Clerk, do you have?
Yeah, last year, Supervisor, the town of Monroe hosted a shredding day, and the Chamber of Commerce at the same time had a shredding day at another location. So this year, you had come to me and said that the Chamber of Commerce was hosting it. So, but last year, there was actually two going on, because the town of Monroe paid for a shredding day that day.
Would it be better if they're gonna have their own, if we have it on like two separate occasions, so if people miss one, they can catch the other? Or do you wanna have it just one?
Personally, I would like to keep everything on Clean Sweep, but we've been hosting this now. I'm trying to do it twice a year.
Right.
The spring one is in April, and the fall one is the first weekend in November. Supervisor Cardone came to me and suggested that maybe we could see if the Chamber of Commerce could bring it up to the town hall parking lot, and I think that would be a great idea.
Tires?
Tires are going to be at the town hall parking lot, along with the electronic recycling.
Would tires be better at the bus guy? I mean, tires is...
No, see, what we're trying to do is have the residents come to one location.
Right, gotcha.
Okay,
I got it.
and it worked very well last year. The garbage company dropped off the dumpster. Highway Department supplied an employee, and it
I
worked out
understand.
very well.
I understand, but there's tires, and, okay, not a worry.
So I'm looking for the board to approve the contract that is submitted here from Advanced Recovery.
And there's a savings as well, correct?
Yes, we spent over $5,000 last year, and there's been some new employees in the company, and they called and said, listen, why don't we just do a per-day rate? And when they told me the rate, I said, absolutely, because it's a big savings from last year.
Okay. So it's $1,700 per day for 2 days, which will be $3,400 versus last year's cost of $5,200.
Correct.
So I will make a motion that we approve Advanced Recovery to provide the services for Recycle Day on April 20th and April 21st for a cost of $1,700 per day.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Aye. Oh,
No. Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. So moved.
Thank you.
Okay, just so there's no confusion. There are numerous, Mary Ellen, on new business, did we have, we're up to 4.7, and that was it, correct?
Well, you did have on the agenda 4.6 was the lighting districts.
Which was tabled because Jimmy Rogers was hired as a consultant for O&R for this week.
Okay, and then water district number 8, we had an issue with that water pressure issue, Councilman Bingham had brought forth.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 4.8 that involves the houses on Hilltop. We've had people in Town Hall try to look to see if there was some documentation in years past as to what was done. Doesn't seem to be a paper trail, so to speak. I saw Mr. Lake is in the audience tonight. He's brought up the issue that the pump that's in his house is running constantly. They have poor pressure, and it's not just him, it's several of the neighbors up there on Hilltop. So,
You want to come up and speak, Mr. Lake? Just state your name and...
I'll grab the mic here. My name is Matt Lake. I live on 169 Hilltop Road. Just to bring everybody up to speed in terms of the issue, probably about 3 years ago, I went to town and basically told them of the issue that I was having in terms of not getting the right amount of water pressure. I don't know why initially what the builder did in terms of taking a line that was basically below my house and then running it up to a pump that was above my house. So essentially, the water pressure issue should have never happened in the first place, but the town, for whatever reason, approved this. What should have happened, historically, is the actual line should have gone from the water pressure tank, which is above my house, and basically run a line to us, which would eliminate the need to have booster pumps in my house. So I have booster pumps in my house. They run constantly, okay? So that's a separate issue. I went to the town, I spoke to Peter, whatever his last name is, and Jack Sherry. The explanation I was given was that they could not locate the town map that was supposed to, be able to locate that with that line that was supposed to happen from the beginning.
Mary has located them, so.
Okay, so I won't I won't go into any of that explanation in terms of what I was given, but this happened 3 years ago. I had people come to my house, mark my house in front of my house. I sent you the pictures as evidence, and for whatever reason they never came back, never did anything about the issue. So
When you
here I
say you
am.
had people come to your house, what?
From the town, you mean?
From the
or-
town.
From the town,
I
that was Jack
was at
Sherry.
work,
Yeah.
okay? My neighbor was there at the time. He was dealing with a few individuals. Jack Sherry was the main contact.
Right.
I understand Jack Sherry is no longer, dealing with, these types of water issues. So I've been dealing with Rick, which basically, fast forward, so this was 3 years ago. Nothing was ever done in the house. I'm still, kind of waiting on the town to do something. 3 years now, now I start having issues directly connected to the same issue. So now I was getting no water, and this started on January 14th. So I shut all my pumps off, that day, and my neighbors as well. They texted me and said, "Hey, you getting any water?" Which essentially I know it's not an issue with the pump inside the house. It's an issue with underground. So,
How do we know that, though? How do you know that it's not the pump? That's what we have to, I think, not to interrupt you, sir, but I think before we...
You did.
Well, I did, yes, but if it's the pump inside the house, I think we should really find out if it's the pump inside the house first. I think
Well-
somehow or another, we should know that before we go into something else. You know what I'm saying?
Right, we should hire-
You can do that. I'm just saying it doesn't make any logical sense, because if it was my pump, it would be all the pumps in all of the houses at the same time this happened. So wouldn't you think that would be underneath? That would be the issue. You can hire and waste money on a plumber to come to my house. That's not a problem. But I'm telling
I
you
could
what the
also,
issue is.
right, we could also hire and waste money to dig lines up that we don't even know where they are at this particular point,
Right.
so I'm trying to rule something out here before we
Right, but didn't
go
you just say
crazy.
that you located the map?
We located the map, but we're not sure there's a line there.
Okay.
Hey, can I
It's-
just ask you a quick
That's not my
It's
question?
problem.
supposed to
This
be
is
called
No,
the
I'm not,
build-out.
listen, we're
That's
not,
not my
listen,
problem.
listen, Matt, we're
Yeah.
not here to get in an argument with you,
Yeah, no,
okay?
I'm not
But
arguing
we're-
either,
We're,
but-
we're trying to push this forward so that you have adequate water.
Yeah.
With respect to us bringing a plumber in, that's our call. If we choose to do that, just let us do that.
Yeah.
We already have a price to have the pumps checked out. We talked about, Mary and I talked about having possibly, and John talked about having 2 of the pumps checked out in the house. Because if it's all 4 and we get 2, I know the gentleman on the corner is a plumber as well. So, it's something I just think that we need to do it as a process of elimination.
Yeah, no, I know we spoke about it. You're more than welcome to do it. I'm just telling
When,
you, my hypothesis is that's not the problem.
When they installed the pump to you, sir, that once the pumps were installed in your house,
Right.
did that boost your water pressure?
Yeah, it boosted the water pressure, but like I said, I don't think it was necessary to even have that from the beginning, based on the fact that there could have been a line that was run from.
But that's our point. We don't think that other line was ever run.
Yeah.
That's why,
We don't know.
right,
Hey,
we don't know for
listen,
sure. But
we don't
that's
know.
why we think that's why those booster pumps were installed in your house.
Yeah.
So the first process is to have a plumber come check out not only yours, but one other house, to see if maybe there's some valve or something that could be a minor adjustment, and then everybody's problem would be solved.
Yeah.
But that would be the beginning place to start. As John Cherney was saying, we have a map. It's not a official build-out map or built-out map. So right now, for us to start digging in the road to look for where this line is, that would be spending a whole lot more money. It's not going to be the town's money, it's going to be your water district's money that's going to have to fund these repairs or improvements or whatever you want to call it. So we'd rather be fiscally
Responsible.
conservative
Exactly.
and start with the easiest thing first, which would be to have a plumber come out and check your house and one other house
And
as well.
cheapest.
Let me ask you a
And
question.
cheapest at this point. It'll be the cheapest and easiest way to at least get an idea where we're at. Okay, now the booster pumps are running perfect and he still has no water pressure, so now we know we have some issues. We all know who the builder is of your development, and we all know, we don't know what he did or didn't do.
Well,
You understand what I'm saying? We don't know where this went.
We don't even need to, discuss.
The assumption right now is
So-
that he tied into the line that goes from the pump house to the water tank. So if that is not pushing water, you're more than likely not going to get water, rather than putting your main line from the water tower line that's coming down into the pump house.
But yeah, all I'm saying is, like, as of January 14th, the water pump has gotten specifically a lot worse in terms of the actual flow. So example would be, you're taking a shower for 5 minutes and it completely shuts down. So that didn't start happening. I've lived there for 7 years. That didn't start happening until recently. So I mean, there's two real issues, at hand. What was originally done from the beginning, the lack of follow-up from the town. I know those happened before you came here, but then the third issue is realistically on January 14th. Now I have a bigger issue at hand.
All right.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm just asking for your help. I know we've.
And I will tell you that there's another issue that I recalled in my memory that happened the first weekend in January. And John, if you could maybe have Ricky and Bob check this out. There's a sensor in the pump house
In the pump house itself, yes.
that senses what the water level is in the tank. And from what Rick and I had kind of deciphered that night, that's not working. So I don't know if that's a direct correlation to why he's not getting water.
Could contribute.
It would have to, that would be almost everybody on that system.
That's exactly what
You know what I'm saying? It's not just, we're looking at 7 houses here, or 6 houses. or-
That's what I'm saying, is the issues don't, and I specifically asked this to Rick, have you gotten calls from anybody else besides us? And he
Right.
basically said no. So that water tank.
Well, he did. He got a call from the gentleman on the corner.
Well, yeah, but those are just the 4 houses that were built by this builder, right? So other houses are connected to that water tower.
And the other houses
None of
don't
them
have an
got-
issue.
None of them got a call.
Right. I guarantee you this, sir, we're taking this very seriously. And I know Tony is, I know I am, I know Mary is. The whole board is going to take this seriously. We just don't know, we have to rule something out first, and I think ruling out the pumps first would be the way to go. And it's the most inexpensive way right now to go and say, okay, these pumps are bad, or you're not getting enough water to the pump,
So just to wrap this up, if we could, unless you have anything else you wanted to say, I think let us go through the process. You saw the response you got once, Mary got on this. So we'll move forward and
Yeah.
do our testing and then see what their remediation will be.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, I'll have to be able to get somebody inside your house, so you, if you can give me your availability, you know, and your number tonight, that'd be great. That way we can contact you and set up a day.
Yeah. No, I just asked that we work with a sense of urgency here. I mean, I have two daughters in my house, and when they basically can't take a shower for more than 5 minutes, and they're sitting there freezing, I mean, that's just not acceptable.
Right.
You know, I think you would agree with that.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I have a family. My neighbor Martini is with me today. Martini, if you want to do.
Yes, I do, thank you.
Martini is new to the neighborhood. She just moved in, and, you know, and she's experiencing this issue.
We actually met the night the gentleman on the corner was out of water.
Hi.
Hi, you were out of water too. Your husband is Anthony?
No, we're actually 173 Hilltop.
Oh,
We're
okay.
to the left of Matt, and it's just been, you know, a terrible situation. It affects our daily lives. We've been complaining since January, like Matt said. I'm a family of 4. We can't get out in the morning on time to get to school, get to work, can't use any appliances. So, you know, we would really appreciate some attention to this. Like we said, it's been since January, and it's really affecting our daily routines, our daily lives. I anticipate it will be a cost issue as well, because I can't use washing machine, dishwasher. It's all shutting down in the middle of a cycle. So, and that, I'm sure you're having that issue too. So again, if you can maybe give us a time frame of when we can expect someone to come in.
We're going to ask that
If you give John your phone numbers now, he can act on it first thing in the morning.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
So,
I had one
Okay.
question.
yeah, just go right over and give your phone numbers now, so we can,
Great.
because we do want to take care of that, and you're absolutely right, it is unacceptable, so.
have to set it up with the plumber.
So we need to adopt, make a motion to have a plumber not to exceed $200.
Whatever it
to come out
takes,
and
whatever.
check
Per house.
per house.
In fact, I think the price per house was 115. I think the price per house was 115.
So we'll say not to exceed 2, and
So-
it'll more than cover.
Not to exceed 250.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we find a plumber not to exceed $250 to go out to these 2 residents' homes.
Right away.
And assume ASAP, and to verify that their pumps are operating efficiently.
Second.
For discussion?
Yep.
Second for discussion.
I just to kind of look at this from a little bit of a different angle, is this something, maybe you want to get, Mike Weeks, town engineer to look at, since that's his, water's his
I think it would be
thing?
beneficial to have the report from the plumber first saying, yes, the pumps are operating, or if he goes out there and has some idea of what other problem it might be, yes, then I think at our next town board meeting, we could make a follow-up motion to have Mike Weeks look into it first.
Yeah, because it seems to be something, hopefully it is just the pumps, but it
Hopefully,
seems to
and
be
we can get
maybe
that
some
done right
type of
away for
system
him.
thing, and we're going to need
Right.
an engineering study to figure
I
figure
just
out
hope,
what
yeah.
how to remediate
Yeah.
it, so. But yeah, I'll
So I
go.
would like to have that, this item again put on for our next meeting as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, regarding the plumber, is there someone that we have that
We have,
that specializes in this area that we're happy with, or?
We did get a quote from W.J. Ebner.
Yeah, Jimmy Ebner, it's going to be a service call for $115 a person. So that's just going to be the service call. That's going to tell you, okay, this is what we have going on here. We either have a bad pump or we have not enough water getting to the pump.
Okay.
So that's our best option right now, and then we can just start moving from there.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate that, because that's why I use Ebner.
Okay, good. That's good. All right, thank you.
Thank you, and sorry about
All right,
that, folks.
Call the question.
Aye. Oh,
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Public comment?
I think we have
Theater.
there's 2 more things we got to cover there, Mr. Supervisor.
What are you, I
Four-
see.
4.9 is
No, I don't want to even, I don't want to bring that up, because I think that should be brought up procedurally, because of the security aspect of it.
Okay, I agree. All right. I have one other thing before we go into, go to public comment. We had asked the town attorney to come up with a proposal for a local law, draft for a local law regarding a peddler and no solicitation law. So we currently have it in Chapter 35, but we were looking to strengthen it and kind of replace it with something that is really more in keeping with what people in town are experiencing, which is a lot
Thank you.
this door-to-door solicitation to sell their homes and things like that. We realize that this is an issue, and so the town attorney has given us a rough draft, so I'd like to make a resolution to have this placed, have a public hearing for the 19th to introduce it and hold public comment on it.
Okay.
So
Make a motion then?
I have the formal resolution here. I'm just going to read I'm not going to go into all the whereases and all that. I'm just going to do the following resolution was duly offered and second to it. Did we have a second on this, or
I'll second it.
for discussion?
Yep.
All right, I'll read the resolution, then we can do the discussion. Resolution of the Town Board of Monroe, or the Town Board of the Town of Monroe, setting a public hearing for the adoption of a local law amending Chapter 35 of the Town of Monroe Town Code to expand the regulations of peddling and solicitation within the town. So I'm going to skip the whereases and just kind of go with Section 1. All whereases and paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference as those set forth in full herein. The town clerk is hereby directed to publish a notice of public hearing for the proposed adoption of a local law amending Chapter 35 of the Town Code regarding peddling and solicitation. The town clerk is authorized to publish the notification for the public hearing to be held on March 19th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. And the town clerk is directed to proceed with all appropriate notifications and publications of the notice of public hearing and potential local law as required by law and as recommended by the special counsel for the town. The proposed local law is a Type 2 action pursuant to SECRA, and accordingly it is hereby determined that the proposed local law will not have an environmental impact and no further action is required pursuant to SECRA. Section 4, the resolution shall take effect immediately. And discussion.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
In this new law, is there any changes to the fees?
I looked at the draft today. The fees are not specified in the local law, so we can change the fees.
I would request that we change the fees to $500 a peddler's permit, and that they're only for 6 months. Right now, we're currently $200, and it's at a year, and I would like to make it as tight, less time, so I have more control over when they're out there. And what we do now is it's $200 per peddler's permit, but if there's 4 people coming in, we have a lot right now with solar, so the company will send 4 people in. It's $200 for the first guy, and then it's $50 additional for each of the other 3 employees. So I would like to increase the fees. I know the Village of Monroe did, and Supervisor Cardone was there, and I was there when they raised it, and I looked at him and I said to him that night, we need to do that. So I would like to see if we could do that, raise the fees.
Question. Mary Ellen?
Yes.
It would be 500 no matter how many people they bring in, or we
Oh,
gonna?
no, it would be 500, then also raise it up to, or leave it at $50 for each additional employee. Because everybody who comes in for a peddler's permit has to have a background check.
Right.
Okay, that's $85 right out of the gate.
Oh, we're paying for that, yeah.
And we're paying for that.
So, instead of making it 50, why don't you make it 100 to cover the $85
That's
on the
fine.
background fee?
That's fine, 500 for the first initial and 100 for any additional, and that the permit, either, I'll ask the attorney, maybe you can research it and let us know what would be best, 3 months, 6 months, 2
Yeah,
weeks?
we can look at that. Are your fees in a schedule right now, or is it in the law?
It is in the law.
Okay, so we can set, proposed fees and then look at the length of the permit and I'm sure the town can set whatever it thinks is appropriate for renewal.
Great. Mary Ellen, just one, is there like a 1 day special event fee or no?
No, it's right now, our code, it's been a year. So maybe we can look at all this.
I'm just thinking of like, say, like the water skiing thing down in town where they might just be there for 2 days. Do we want to hit them for $500 is my question. If there's someone doing, whether it's a food truck or something,
Well, then, this is something we can look into with the
Okay.
attorney, because then we're starting to say, well, you're this type of business, and then you're that. So,
Gotcha.
I have a list of questions for this. This has always been on the back burner. I'll send them to the board and Brian, and
Yeah, that'd
then
be
we'll
great.
see
Sure.
what we can do.
Yeah, I know you deal with it firsthand,
Yes.
so any input you have on it, if you could, again, send it to us and Brian, that'd be great. And-
I actually got a email from Councilman Cologne this weekend asking me if a particular company had a permit.
Okay.
So I do advise the residents that when a peddler does come to your door, first thing before they start giving you their spiel, ask them to see their permit, because I tell everybody I issue a permit to that they are required to hold them. If they don't have a permit, say no thank you, close the door, and call the police and tell them you have a peddler in your area without a permit. So it's very important, because we've had issues in the past.
Would it be possible for us to, in other words, if we have someone approved to go around and put it up maybe on the
We
on
can,
the county, on the town
we can
website?
put it up on the town website. That's a great idea. Put it up, that letting the residents know. We can also send it out in the newsletter, letting them know that these peddlers will be in the area.
Yeah, because I'm highly suspect of people who go door to door, because you never know what kind of information they're asking for, and there's all sorts of scams that are going out now, so,
All right.
just looking out for the people in general.
Yeah, I would just point out to the board, your code indicates on that section that you have a fee schedule. So normally, you don't put fees into the local law. You're going to put them on a fee schedule that you can change by resolution. You should have one. If you don't, then we need to, establish that. But that can be done by resolution. So you can raise, otherwise you'd have to amend the local law every time you wanted to change a fee.
Okay.
So we should have a comprehensive fee schedule, and then we make reference to the various town code sections. And the town board may, from time to time, pass a resolution to increase or reduce any fine, any fee, rather.
I'm sorry, Brian, wasn't sure if this was covered under that. We do have a fee schedule. The last time it was revised was in 2012. So
Yes,
I'll
sir.
send that to you.
Yeah, I would recommend we all take a look at that and maybe adjust the fees as necessary.
Okay.
All right.
Call the question.
Aye.
Bingham, aye.
No, Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, public comment. First speaker.
Mike Goldstein?
Thank you. Mike Goldstein, taxpayer. I'm a little confused. I think it was 4.1, you started talking about giving nonprofits some type of deal in the movie theater. You started to read that? Or is that something that exists?
4.3.
Okay. All right, we'll skip that. The rules for public comment during a town meeting specifically state, quote, "Public comment during the public participation period of regular town board meetings shall be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and the subject matter of such public comment shall be limited to town business." Comment is so important, it is stated 3 times in the rules. It does not say I must speak only about agenda items. Therefore, I want to ask the following. Number 1, have the town records been returned from the organization that restored them from the mold problem? If not, what does it cost the town each month for storage? 2, what has been done to protect the old town hall to prevent a reoccurrence of the mold problem? When will this property be put on sale? Has a price been established for the property? 3, How much has it cost the town to fight the lawsuit in White Plains? I am not asking about the suit. I only want to know the money involved by the town. 4, how much money has been spent to date negotiating with the Alliance to get them to sign off on the lawsuit that allowed the creation of the town of Palm? If they do not sign, does it have any effect on the creation of the new town? 5, how much money has been spent on plans to convert the rented town hall into a permanent town hall? If the decision to purchase becomes a reality, will the purchase be put to a public referendum? The law of unintended consequences allowed me to speak tonight. I hope you will allow the public at future meetings the right to speak on town business. Fulfill your campaign platform that some of you on the board, that got some of you on the board in 2016. You specifically stated you wanted to change back to open government. What is more open than a free discourse on town business? Thank you.
Jason Serwinski.
Jason Cherwinski, private citizen, Village of Monroe. First things first, I gotta tell you, I was very skeptical of board docs when you guys first signed up for that. And then I found myself in Disney World last week. And I loved being able to follow the meeting, because what else do I do when I'm standing in line to meet Mickey Mouse? That said, I think there are a few kinks that I think Mary Ellen addressed earlier.
Yeah,
and
we're
they
working
primarily
on it.
relate to executive session minutes and public comments. I was wondering if there could be some kind of draft released before that, because I noticed tonight we were going to approve minutes, but nowhere in the 2.5 and the last week's meeting were public comments and executive sessions made available to view. And it seems we have a board that likes to conduct a lot of business in executive session. And lastly, regarding the agenda, we were missing a few items. For example, the dial-a-bus. That did not make it onto the agenda. That was distributed to myself via mobile device, or everyone else for that matter. And I think there was one other item where that was also related to as well. And my last thing, Tony, is on the fraud allegations from the previous audit, and will that specter continue to haunt us for this year's audit? Because I would really, and I think the public as well, would not want to spend 2.5 hours listening to the Swedish Chef explaining that the fraud allegations had very little impact on the audit. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Christine Tucker.
Christine Tucker, Monroe resident. Is the theater name the best focus of the board's time? In tonight's meeting, there is an agenda item for changing the name of the Town of Monroe Theater, the Town Theater, from Town of Monroe Art and Civic Center, TMAC, to Monroe Theater. I would like to ask what the implications of this name change are. What does this name change mean for the business and use of the theater? Will the empty theaters be renovated and opened? Will Studio 6 be closed from town and resident use? Will birthday parties and local events no longer be allowed? What benefit does the board believe will be achieved by this change? And are they worth the cost? You would have to do new resident cards would need to be made, and will the residents still get a discount at the new Monroe Theater? You would have to do new gift cards for the same thing. In my humble opinion, if the board is going to focus on the theater, they should focus on increasing its services and use within the community, increasing the revenue by promoting its use for community events, and thus reducing cost. That type of activity would better serve the community than spending the board's limited time on a name change. Excuse me, I'm sorry. At several informational meetings, the people of Monroe and the surrounding communities were assured that the town board would be addressing the financial impacts of separation with KJ. While residents were also told that the discussion would not be done in public, the public should know if they have begun. and if they're going in a positive manner. That subject is missing entirely from this and every agenda since the board reconvened this year. The financial future of Monroe is at stake, and I and many others would like to know if the town board is addressing the most significant aspects of our financial stability. Has the negotiation with KJ for a financial agreement and other considerations that the separation and creation of a new town will have on properties remaining in the unincorporated part of the town of Monroe begun? If so, are these negotiations going in a positive manner? As the people elected to represent all the residents of the town of Monroe, I respectfully suggest that you use your precious time focusing on the issues that will truly impact our lives and finances of the residents rather than on trifling wastes of time and money like changing the name of the theater. Thank you.
Ethan Serwinski?
Did I write my kid's name?
You did.
Make it Lorraine. I still like permission slips out on me. Lorraine Loaning, Village of Monroe. I'm going to quote Shakespeare. How about that? Culturing up the place. A rose by any other name is still a rose. How's that? I'm going to sort of agree with Christine on this. The name of the theater, it doesn't really matter. And I go to the theater a lot. I've seen every movie that's in there right now. I was there yesterday. I saw I, Tonya. Good movie. When I check in, and I always check in on the Facebook, it says Monroe Cinema. And I check in and I say who I'm with, and I write my little review. And people look forward to that. I don't think changing the name is going to materially impact anything until you start showing more movies and more different types of movies. I go to the movies at Destinta a lot and sometimes in Middletown, and they have movies at 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. And those are great because you can just go, bang out a movie, and then just do whatever you need to do for the rest of your day. And I know AMC is a big chain and they have more muscle, but like they had these Oscar movies where they just had, like one showing every couple of days. It wasn't like part of the deal. So yeah, I get it. You have, your mainstay movies, but couldn't we throw in one showing or two showings a week of some of these other types of movies? Until you really commit to showing more movies, the name of the theater, I think it's sort of irrelevant. And I will, full disclosure, this my younger son, he actually works there. And, he works like 8 hours a week, Rick. So it's not like he's getting rich. We're his ticket for the movie theater. But we go a lot as a family. And like I said, I think that the theater is something that's great in this town, and we should mine that greatness and make it better. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ward Brower?
Ward Brower, private citizen. Still waiting for the changes which were promised, some of them 3 years ago, for the policies of Harvey Doyle. Number one, he got rid of the monthly reports with the people actually here. I still make a point that the ambulance corps problem probably never would have gotten to this stage. It would have been solved years ago. Going on cyberspace, as was recommended at the last meeting, frankly, it takes a lot of time, and the answers you get may not be what you want. Number two, before Harvey Doyle, speakers got an answer while they're still at the microphone. But now they have to sit down, and if you have 4 or 5, what happens is 50% of the questions never get answered. 40% of the questions get answered with some question that doesn't, or answer doesn't even relate to the question. 10% will actually get answered. That was Harvey Doyle's thing. And the last thing, in the interest of time. Questions from the original, for 22 and a half years, 1990 when it was established, you could ask any question of his town business which was not on the agenda. Then Harvey decided, whoa, don't like that, that's too open. So he took the knot out. Now you restrict the questions to what the board wants to talk about, not what the public wants to talk about, let alone answer. If we could have those campaign promises met after 3 years, that would be nice. I did hear one thing that you did do. Harvey took away the meetings at public concerns at every meeting. You guys restored it at every meeting. That was good. Except if you can't answer the question or ask the questions you want to answer, you could answer. It doesn't matter how many times you come up to this microphone. If you can't answer what you want to hear, thank you.
That's all the speakers.
Any comments?
Any comment, Harry? All right, let me address Ward. The reason that people are not getting answers at the microphone and we wait for them to sit down is because for too long there was arguments back and forth about what each answer meant, and it was getting to be too long. People can get up, make their comments in 3 minutes. They sat down. If they really wanted to talk about another topic, they're always more than interested to call up or email our office to put something on the agenda. I don't think that there would be any problem with that. Second, if you really want an answer to a difficult question, my feeling is you can always send your question in so we can prepare an answer for you and get the answer for you, because not everything can be kept on the top of somebody's head. I think it's that simple. As far as the name change of the theater goes, yeah, there was a lot of controversy in that. Yeah, we should be looking at opening up the other theaters. There is an acquired expense in that, and it's something to look into. The hours, I think we've looked into some of that before. I think that we have people that are board members that are working with the theater, so they're going to be looking into that. That's about my comment. Sorry, I didn't answer everything.
Mary?
No, she didn't have any comment.
I've always been a proponent for the TMAC movie theater, whatever we decide to call it or not call it. Yes, you have to increase revenues. Getting a more variety of movies is one option. Making sure the equipment that we have to play these movies operates well, we have to ensure that as well. So I am going to work as best I can to get more things for the movie theater, cinema, whatever. I agree, we don't always have answers to everybody's questions. Sometimes one question leads to another question, leads to another question, and I hope in the future I can do better. Being new on the board, there are things, you know, with other water districts, I don't have all the answers to, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and I hope you'll put up with my innocence so far, but I will try to do better getting answers to all the questions, and that's all I want to say for tonight.
I'll go. All right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Goldstein, there has been no price determined on Town Hall at the present time. The inside was remediated in the past, and as of 2 weeks ago, the outside sidewalk was re-poured to remediate against water dripping down into that section, which was the cause of the main problem. As far as your comment about open government, we did change it to open government, as was said, as Ward said, with adding a meeting where everyone can speak, not having one where no one could speak. As far as Jason, the audit for 2017 will not be encumbered by what was happening for the 2015 audit, because the 2016 audit and the 2017 audit will be under the guidance of this board. We tried to get the 2015 audit approved. Unfortunately, two board members did not want to sign the waiver pertaining to the fraud that they made accusations on. And they did agree to sign those waivers. Mrs. Tucker, the name change, I believe wholeheartedly in. There's a stigmatism associated with the TMAC, and if you feel that there will be no increased revenue in changing that name, then you obviously don't have any business history or business sense associated with it. It's called marketing, and we're going to market that theater to at least break even and hopefully succeed in making money. You also made a comment that promoting use for community events will reduce costs. It won't reduce costs. It's going to increase costs. It's going to increase revenue as well, but it's going to. I'm not going to hear the door go back and forth. I know what you said. I listened to it. It's going to increase costs. It's not going to reduce costs, and it will also increase revenues. So there's a two-sidedness to that comment. Lorraine, you heard what I said about the name change. If it doesn't matter what it is, then what's the difference if we change it to Monroe Theater? So we just feel that the marketing aspect of it, although it will come with some associated increased costs to change things over, will be beneficial to the entire community. Plus the fact, as Mary said, there's a sign up there that already says Monroe Theater. That's all I have.
Mr. Goldstein, regarding your, you went through a whole list of items about cost, regarding about 5 or 6 different items. I would recommend that you fill out a FOIL request for those items and request that information. Agenda items, Jason, while it's suggested that agendas be presented for board meetings, it's not a requirement of town law or New York state law. Listen, sometimes things get put on that don't get on here, like this. The resolution we passed tonight for the local law hearing, and it's just, it's things are fluid. You know what I mean? We try to cover as much as we can. Ms. Tucker, regarding the you brought up some issues about what it's going to cost. When we had the public information sessions, we discussed, roughly what it would cost per homeowner. There was a range in there, what it would cost if we did nothing, if we didn't cut budgets, if we didn't do anything. We are still looking at, we don't know where we're going to wind up budgeting. We have not spoken to the Village of KJ about IMAs and things like that. We are still waiting to do that. But there's also some other pending litigation that is kind of holding up things. So, these are issues. We are going to, we realize that, A, we have to cut costs. B, we may have to raise taxes. Obviously, the more we want to cut costs to lessen that. And a lot of it's going to depend on where we make up with IMAs and things like that. But there's certainly no, secret going on. It's just, we're just trying to, this is unknown territory. This hasn't happened in 50 years in New York State, where a new town's been formed, but I can guarantee that as we get closer, we don't even know if it's going to happen this year or next. You know what I mean? Right now, it would be scheduled to be an election in 2019. We know that there was possible legislation to move it up. We don't know where that even stands at this point. So a lot of balls up in the air with it, but it's not that these things won't be addressed. And certainly when we come up on as we get closer to budget season, we are going to be looking at things very, very hard, regardless of when that separation is going to take place, because it is going to take place, and we have to be prepared for it.
Thank you.
And more just, regarding restricting, we're not restricting, we're just trying to keep things narrow and focused we're not trying to control the agenda, but, we can't have people coming up here and some of them have made crazy statements, things that have put us in does not help us with some of the legal things that are going on. It's this is not a bully pulpit for people to get up here and spout their political beliefs. It's to come up here and ask about town business, and we have no problem with that. But if people want to get up here and start saying things that are detrimental to the town, we're not going to allow that. That's just that went on for too many years, and it's not going to happen anymore.
I think that's it. We have to go into this executive session.
I'll make a motion. We go into executive session to discuss a pending contract, personnel issue,
and some litigation.
And Supervisor, just to add, we'll be discussing the financial and credit information concerning a certain corporation.
I'll second it.
Call the question?
Aye.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye. We knows you put your.
Hi, and welcome back to our regular meeting. I'd like to make a motion to come out of executive session and into regular session.
I'll second it.
Call the question?
Aye.
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 Aye. Wrong order. Let's go, McGinn. Come on.
No order.
Okay. We have an employee who has requested to carry over vacation days. I would like to make a motion to approve 5 vacation days that will be carried over for Blanca Johnson.
I'll second.
As per the contract, the union contract, section 7.2.4.
Okay, I'd like to second that motion.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay. Next motion, Mr. Nugent.
Yes, Supervisor, we have 2 motions concerning stipends in the Highway Department. First one will concern an HEO1 water working leader resolution. I would ask Councilwoman Bingham to adopt this after I read it as her motion. Whereas the town of Monroe has approved a new position and stipend funding for the title of HEO1 water working leader, and whereas the town board has approved the payment of a stipend for such title for the additional duties to be performed by the person occupying such position relating to water services in the town, be it resolved that the title of HEO1 water working leader will be added to the wage schedule and will read as follows: HEO1/water working leader stipend $8,000. The above stipend shall be paid in 2 installments. First full pay period in June and December for as long as the employee assigned to such position is performing such extra duties relating to water services in the town, and that position will be assigned to the water working leader. The name
Is Ricky Beams.
To Ricky Beams. So we need that in the form of a motion.
So I'd like to make the motion as outlined by our counselor.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Next.
Okay, the second concerns, it's the same resolution, but this is for a stipend for a senior clerk to the highway/water. It'll be added to the wage schedule and will read senior clerk to the highway/water stipend $5,000. Stipend paid in 2 installments, first full pay period in June and December for as long as the employee assigned to such position is performing such extra clerk duties relating to water services in the town, and the person assigned to that stipend will be
Bob Piccanati.
Okay, and would ask Councilwoman Bingham to adopt that motion as hers.
And I would like to make that a motion per our counselor's reading.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved.
All right.
Go ahead.
I have one more. This concerns the ethics disclosures required under the town's code, and the resolution would be it resolved that the town board authorizes the town supervisor to issue notice and a directive to any town employee or town officer that has not complied with the town ethics disclosure requirements, directing that such disclosures be submitted no later than March 30th, 2018. And the town board further authorizes the supervisor to initiate any and all appropriate action concerning such employees or officers in the event of a failure to comply with such directive. And I need someone to adopt that motion.
I will adopt that motion.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
Okay, so moved. Any other business? No? I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:41.
Second it.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cologne, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
McGinn, aye.
So moved. Meeting adjourned.